If you have an irresistible product or service offer ready to put out into this world, then you are ready to launch your brand new online business and start making some waves. Now, there are often a lot of moving parts to a product or service launch, and that's, whether you're launching your very first product or service or you're launching your 5th, 10th, or even 20th. Today, I'm going to walk you through all of the steps involved, so all of those nuts and bolts of planning out your launch, so stay with me. Welcome, I'm Rachel Harrison-Sund. This video is part of an entire series I've put together on how to monetize yourself by capitalizing on some skill or knowledge that you already have and turning it into an online business so that you can make more money and live more life. If you want to learn how to do that, then subscribe to this channel and do hit the bell too so that you can be notified every time I release one of these videos, which is each and every Monday. Now, to reach the point where you are ready to launch your online business and start helping people and making money, you should have already done the following by this point. So number one, you should have uncovered a profitable idea that you have validated with real members of your target market, so AKA your ideal customers. And this idea should directly solve a pressing problem your ideal customers are experiencing. If you're still a little bit shaky on this step and you want to be sure that you've fully validated your idea, check out this video right here and you'll learn all about how to uncover that unprofitable idea. 2, you have already begun building an audience and attracting your ideal customers so that you actually have live human beings ready and waiting in the wings to buy your offer. Now, of course, there's no use launching an offer out into the world if you have no one to sell it to, and you're going to need a solid way to get the word out there so that you're not launching to crickets. Nobody wants that. Now, if you skip this step, watch this video to learn how you can attract your ideal customers, magnet style, so that you've actually got a pool of interested buyers at the ready, just waiting for you to launch. Now, number 3, you've built your offer. It is sitting there, it's waiting to go, and you just need to launch the damn thing at this point. Now, if you're still working on your offer and you need a little bit of help with pricing, positioning, naming it, then check out this video and you'll learn all about how to create an irresistible offer. All right, once you've checked all of those boxes, then you are ready to go, my friend. These are your next steps to get this thing out the door and start putting smiles on your customers' faces. Oh, and before we move on, I want to let you know that I've got a super helpful free resource for you that's going to help you speed up this whole online business startup thing. So stick around until the end and I will tell you exactly where to get it. Now, before you launch, you're obviously going to need to map out your entire launch plan. So here are your main considerations during this step. So first, you want to choose a launch date. Picking a date gives you a deadline and it really does make it real. Using this date, you can create a bit of a work back and make sure that you've got time for all of the other steps that we're about to run through right now. So next, once you've got your date, you're going to want to decide if this is going to be a limited launch or will it be evergreen? So in other words, will your launch be available for a limited time only with clearly defined cart open and cart close dates? So for example, for a 2-week period, or once you've launched, will your ideal customers be able to purchase your product or service at any time from now until some point in the distant future or, when you just decide to stop selling your offer? Personally, my first offer was a limited live launch and was available during a 14-day cart open period, after which point I closed the doors and then did another live launch like a few months later. Now, this can be a good thing to do with the first launch of a product or a service if you'd like some time to work out any kinks between launches. After doing 2 live launches, I made my course available as an evergreen offer, and now people who are interested can purchase anytime they want. So next, make the decisions surrounding how you're going to deliver your offer and how you're going to accept payment. If your offer is a digital course, do you know which course platform you're going to be using to host your course? If you're offering coaching, are you going to use Zoom or something else? And then how do you want your customers to pay you for your product or service? PayPal, Stripe, e-transfer, Venmo. You want to determine where your offer is going to live out on the web and how your customers are going to gain access to it. You're also going to want to consider how you're going to record your transaction. So in other words, your bookkeeping system. Are you going to use a simple spreadsheet or are you going to be using software like QuickBooks? Once you've got those practical considerations out of the way, it's time to create a marketing plan. So how exactly are you going to get the word out about your irresistible product or service? Don't have the field of dreams approach of if I build it, they will come, because they won't come. You're going to need a good organic marketing strategy, and that might look something like this. So for 4 weeks, or maybe even 6 weeks leading up to your launch, ensure that the content on your blog, your YouTube channel, your podcast whatever is related to and supports your offer in some way. So you want to get your audience primed and thinking about your product or service topic. If you were to talk about several different topics in your content, really hone in and focus on the topics that are directly related to your offering. You want to do the same thing for any social media platforms you're active on. So if you can, just repurpose any of your main content in any way that you can for Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever platform you're on. And then you can also send weekly emails to your audience offering free content that ultimately relates to the offer that you're going to be launching. So again, it's just all about priming your audience for what's about to come. When it comes time to launch, how are you going to let your audience know? Is it going to be through an email sequence? Is there going to be an invitation to a live or a pre-recorded webinar? Now, for me, what worked really well was putting together a live webinar where I offered up some valuable free information, and then I presented my offer about like 2/3 of the way through my webinar. So I sent out a series of emails to my list inviting my audience to one of 4 live webinars, and then in each webinar, I offered up that free information that I'd promised, and then I pitched my paid program at the end. And attendees who were interested, they were directed to a sales page where they could purchase my program. And then anyone who didn't purchase on the live webinar was sent a series of follow-up emails that continued to promote my program. Now, this launch lasted 2 weeks, and then after that time, I closed the doors until I reopened them again several months later. Now, of course, there are multiple ways to launch. You don't necessarily need to use webinars. You could just do a simple email sequence that sends potential customers to a sales page. Really, you just want to think about what's going to work best for your audience and then formulate a plan from there. For me, live webinar launches have worked exceptionally well. Once your plan is in place, but before you start implementing it, it's really important to set some launch goals. This can be a little bit difficult if you've never done this before. You might not have any real sense of how many offers you might actually sell or how much money you're going to make, but there are a few rough guidelines that you can follow. So first, think about how much revenue you'd actually like to generate overall, then work backward. So for example, if you're hosting webinars, typical conversion rates can be anywhere from 3 to 5% to 10 or maybe even 20 or 25%, depending on your product or service, the price point, how warm your leads are, etc. But when you're just starting out, go conservative and expect maybe like 3 to 5% conversion rates. As an example, if your goal was to generate $10,000 on your first launch and you're selling a digital product that is $500, you're going to need to sell 20 offers to make your target. If you're hosting a webinar and you can expect a 5% conversion rate, that means you'd need to have 400 people register and then attend your webinars to meet that goal. Now that might sound super ambitious, but you can definitely get there. Using a formula like this can give you a little bit of a rough ballpark, numbers-wise, to work toward. And don't sweat these numbers too much, especially if you don't reach your goals. Remember, your conversions are going to increase over time and with practice, so do go easy on yourself. You should be looking at this whole experience as a chance to experiment and grow. Now, once you've got your overall launch plan, including your marketing plan and your goals in place, make a list of all of the software and tech you're going to need to pull it all off. So this could include an email service provider, a landing page or landing pages, sales pages, webinar software, digital course hosting platform, marketing funnel software, bookkeeping software. Then when you've got that list, of course, you're going to want to set it all up. So you want to build your sales pages. You want to write your email sequences and set up your funnels. You want to set up your webinar hosting if you're going to be doing webinars. Set up your payment gateway. Set up your business bank account if you haven't already. And do make sure that you've got a separate business bank account. Even if you haven't registered a separate legal entity yet, at least open a new bank account under your name so that it's completely separate from your personal account. You also then want to set up any other tech or software that you're going to need. Now, finally, once all of this legwork is done, it is time to launch. This is the moment you've been working toward for weeks, if not months, and it's finally time to pull the trigger. And once you've done it, once you have got your offer out there and into the hands of the people that need it, you can give yourself a massive high five and, give yourself a pat on the back and then take a moment to just relax and enjoy it. And once you've taken a few minutes to breathe, you're going to want to conduct a launch debrief. This is extremely important so that you know exactly what went right, what went wrong, and how you can improve for next time. So you want to lift up the hood and you want to take a look at your metrics. How many offers did you sell? What was your conversion rate? Did you reach your goals? and looking at your numbers, why or why not? What can you do to improve your metrics the next time? You are going to learn an absolute ton after your first launch. So use your findings to refine your entire process, make it better, and then it's time to repeat the whole process. Now, final words of wisdom. I know this sounds like a lot of work, and frankly, it really is. There's no way around that. I highly recommend, if it's in your budget, to get a little help from a virtual assistant. So a VA can really help you with writing emails, setting up funnels, answering customer emails, helping monitor chat in your webinar, a million other things that you're going to need to do. Now, if it's not in your budget, it's okay. You can 100% do this on your own. I did my entire first live launch on my own, and while it was a ton of work, I did manage to pull it off successfully, and I know you can too. And then the next time around, I ended up getting some help just to take the edge off because it was a lot of work. Now, my next piece of advice is to really spend some time reflecting on the entire experience afterward. Do the launch debrief, take any lessons that you can learn from in order to improve for the next time. And finally, go easy on yourself. No matter what the outcome is, you're going to take away something useful from this experience. Remember, you're a human being, you are learning, you're doing something new for the first time, and it's not going to be easy. So give yourself grace, congratulate yourself on your efforts regardless of the outcome, and if you have success, no matter how small, revel in it, you totally deserve it. Now, if you'd like to have all the information I've been talking about in the series in written form, please download my free guide, the 4-step, no time to waste online business startup blueprint, down in the description below. And then go ahead and watch these videos next if you've missed any of the videos in this entire How to Start a Knowledge-Based Online Business series. If you like this video, please hit the like button, do subscribe, share it with anyone else who's considering starting a knowledge-based online business. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next Monday.